Hello friends, this is Hera. I get a lot of questions about how to start penpaling, how to find pen pals, what to put in a pen pal letter, etc. So I thought that in this video I'll do a complete guide on penpaling. I've divided it into 7 parts and I've put the timestamps in the description box, so if there's a specific topic that you're interested in, you can just jump to that part of the video, but I hope you'll watch the whole thing. Now, before getting into the good stuff, a little announcement. I recently got a PO box. It's very exciting, so if you want to send me anything, now you can. I've put the address in the description box below. Okay, announcement over. Let's get into the world of penpaling. Part 1. First of all, what is a pen pal and what's the point of it all? A pen pal is essentially a friend that you exchange letters with. It can be an internet friend, a friend or family member, or anyone that you want to write to. It's an analog way of communicating for those of us who like to slow down and write by hand instead of just typing messages on your phone. A pen pal letter can often include what we call extras or goodies, which are little gifts, and we'll talk more about that later, but before that, let's talk about the letter. Part 2. First of all, a pen pal letter is first and foremost a letter. It's a correspondence between you and another person. I know it may seem like all the extra stuff is really important, but the most important is actually the letter. I wouldn't want to keep exchanging letters with someone who didn't take their time to write a proper letter or who weren't interested in actually talking, because it's supposed to be a form of communication and not a stationery swap. And if you're only interested in receiving other people's stationery, then I would definitely look into a stationery swap rather than pen paling. But don't expect people to send you stationery if you're not prepared to send stationery back. Pen paling and stationery swaps are supposed to be an exchange and not a way for you to take advantage of other people's kindness. Basically, what I'm saying is that if getting extras is all you care about when it comes to pen paling, maybe pen paling isn't for you. I mean, it's not really what pen paling is about. It's a form of communication and a way to make friends in a different way than we're used to. It's not about what you can get, what you can take, but also what you can give. Now that that little PSA is out of the way, we can talk about how to write a letter. You can write on any paper, whatever you have lying around, I suppose. Personally, I use an A5 dot grid paper pad from Rhodia because I thought it would be a really good size and it has dots, which is my preferred type of paper, but any paper will work. Paper ripped out of your composition notebook or printer paper or anything like that. Some people like to decorate their letters with washi tape and ephemera and stickers and stuff, but it's not really necessary. Personally, I enjoy decorating the letter as if I was decorating a page in my bullet journal, but not decorating so much means a lighter letter, which is very significant when it comes to what you have to pay to actually send the letter, because obviously a lighter letter costs less than a heavier letter. And I'll talk more about that later in the video as well. As for what you write, that's entirely up to you. Unless it's the first letter, I try to make sure that I answer all the questions that my pen pal asked me in their letter, while also introducing new topics or even diving further into an existing topic. In the beginning, it's all about getting to know each other, so asking a lot of questions is very important. And that's not just in pen pal letters, but in real life too. People who are good at asking questions and remembering things about other people are more likely to have more friends, because it is more pleasant to be around people who actually seem interested in you and in your life, rather than people who just talk about themselves. So asking questions is super important to make your pen pal feel seen and make them feel like you actually care. If you want to include something extra in kind of the letter category of the pen pal letter, you could include little cards with extra questions or little games like this or that, or would you rather, or stuff like that. Or even lists of your favorite books, your favorite movies, or your current playlist is also really fun. The more personal, the better. Part 3. Do you have to add extras? Extras or goodies are things that you can put in together with your letter. They're called extras because they're not necessary. They're extra. So no, you don't have to include them. If you do want to send some extras though, here are some options. The most popular one is probably stickers. Sticker flakes, pieces of a sticker sheet. Sometimes when you buy stickers from small online shops, they will give you little freebies like tiny little sticker sheets or sticker flakes, and these are great to put in a pen pal letter. Washi tape. Washi tape can be expensive, and I know for myself I rarely use a whole roll of washi tape by myself, so sharing washi tape with other people has become a way for me to actually use more of my washi tape. If your washi tape is of decent quality, it won't get damaged by transferring it to a different surface. You can use gift tags or Lomo cards, or even a clean ice cream stick will work. I've seen people do that. You can use a card from a deck of cards. I store most of my washi tapes on these little plastic cards that I got from AliExpress, so sometimes I just throw in one of those. Paper scraps is also really popular. I love receiving ephemera of all kind because it's something different and unique. It can be ripped out pages from old books, or it can be notepad sheets, decorative paper, cutouts from magazines, even printed out pictures, cutouts from newspapers, anything really. And if you're into drawing or painting, then your pen pal might really appreciate a little drawing or painting from you. I think this is also a really personal touch. And don't worry about your skills or your level, because when you gift someone something handmade that you put effort and time into, the other person will appreciate it if they're a decent human being. It will feel special no matter what it looks like because it was a gift from you to them. And in theory, you can include anything that is relatively flat. So here are some other non-stationary alternatives. Tea bags is really great. So of course they have to be the kind that are wrapped in paper. Whenever I get tea sent from my pen pals, I usually drink it while I read or reply to their letter. I do the same with their playlist. I listen to their favorite music while I read their letter, and it feels very intimate in a way, like I'm learning to know them through their taste in music or in tea. You can also include a photo of yourself or your pets or your favorite place or anything that you're comfortable with. You definitely don't have to share photos, so this is just an extra. Some people like to include stuff like string or yarn or ribbons, for example, and I think that that's a lovely idea. You can use it to wrap up the contents in the letter, or you can just add it as an extra gift. And if you have an excess of like skincare samples and makeup samples, you could try to include that as well. They usually come in small flat packages. Personally, I've never sent or received that, but I mean, it's flat, so it would work. If your envelope can fit a postcard, you could definitely include one of those. You can write on it, or you can leave it blank for your pen pal to send it to someone else. Lots of artists offer postcard-sized prints in their shops nowadays too, so you know, if you want to get something like that for your pen pal, you can do that. And if you're into like macrame or making like bracelets or necklaces or stuff like that, then that's also a great thing to include. And if the contents of your letter doesn't necessarily like fit or match in terms of color or theme, it can be a great idea to wrap everything up in a cohesive way, like put everything into smaller envelopes or make a little folder for all the contents. It's not necessary that everything has to look immaculate, but personally I want my pen pal letters to be kind of a complete experience for my pen pal. I don't want to just throw everything into the envelope and seal it, but it's definitely not necessary, and I would not be disappointed if my pen pals just put all the stuff in the envelope and sealed it. It's just a personal preference for how I like to do things. Basically, none of my pen pals can disappoint me as long as they write me a letter and respond to my questions and ask me questions in return. Part 4, sending a letter. Depending on where in the world you're sending your letter, obviously the price will vary. In my country, the price depends on both the weight and the size of the envelope. I usually go for a smaller envelope, and I try to keep the weight under 50 grams because above that the stamps will cost more. And if you send a lot of pen pal letters, the stamps really add up quickly. Of course, it's hard to know the weight of your letter if you don't own a scale. And sometimes I kick myself when I go to the post office to mail letters and they weigh like 53 grams. But you can't always control it, I guess. If you run into the problem of too chunky letters, then maybe try a larger envelope so that the contents can spread out a little bit more. Some people like to decorate their envelopes, so just make sure that you leave room for the stamp in the top right corner, as well as some room for the blue airmail sticker. You could also put your decorated envelope into a larger envelope, just a plain envelope. Just write the address on the outer envelope and just send it like that, then you don't have to worry about spacing or anything. Part 5. How to store your letters and keep track of your pen pals. If you have many pen pals, you will accumulate lots of letters. There's no right or wrong way to store your letters, but here's what I do. I have 2 boxes for letters, one with letters I have yet to respond to and one with letters that I have already responded to. Right now my letters to respond to box is empty because I sent a bunch of letters in the beginning of January. When I reply to a letter, I put a little post-it note on the envelope so that I know which date I sent out the letter. And of course this box fills up from time to time, and then I transfer them to a larger box in my closet. Oh, and before I put them away, I make sure to take out all the extras so that all that is left is the envelope and the letter, because this way it won't take that much space, and also I get to use all the stationery. In the end, the letter is the most important part of the pen pal letter for me to keep. You can use string or twine to pack letters together if you want to keep them separated. I also have a spread in my journal to keep track of my pen pals. I have their addresses in one column, and then I have the dates that I receive and send letters to each person. In my previous journal, I also wrote down the themes of the letters that I sent so that I wouldn't send the same person the same themed letter twice, but I'm actually not that concerned with that anymore. In the end, it's the thought behind the letter and the whole pen pal experience that matters. And yeah, I'm not too worried that some of my pen pals might be receiving similar looking letters more than once. I mean, I know that I would not be insulted or upset if I got a similar looking letter from one of my pen pals. However, you might want to keep track of what you write to your pen pals. I always make sure to reply to questions or statements like, you wrote that you don't really like your job at the moment. What is making you feel that way? Or you asked me if I have any pets and the answer is yes, blah blah blah. This way you're kind of helping your pen pal along instead of just throwing in random replies to questions that they might not even remember. If you're worried you'll forget what you wrote in your letter, just take a picture. Take a picture of the letter, the envelope, and the extras, if any, and just make a folder on your phone with the pen pal pictures, and this way you can just look up the picture if you forget. Part 6. Now let's talk about how to find a pen pal. The easiest is probably just to ask a friend if they want to exchange letters with you, especially in these socially distanced times. I'm sure there are lots of friends you don't get to see very often, or maybe you have like a cousin or another family member who lives in a different city from you that you might want to keep in touch with. And the second option is going on the internet to find a stranger, basically. You can search for pen pal groups on Facebook. I know that they exist, and you can like put in an ad or reply to an ad, or you can go to Instagram or other apps to find pen pals there. Just be careful and don't like post your address online, and don't give it out to anyone who asks. Be responsible and be careful. If you're underage, get your parents or guardians' permission, because if you give your address out to someone with bad intentions, then you know that directly affects whoever you live with as well. And there are plenty of scammers out there. So what I recommend is, let's say you're on Instagram and you start talking to someone who wants to exchange letters with you. Talk with them for a while before deciding to send letters. Look at their profile, their online presence. Just get a feel of what kind of person they are before you give them your address and full name. You never truly know who someone you meet on the internet is in real life, so a good good precaution could be to use a PO box if you're able to, but you know, those cost money, so not everyone are able to use a PO box. I'd like to think that most people in the pen pal community are decent people, but you just never know, and especially if you're underage, please consult a guardian before doing any of this. Now, personally, I've had the most success on Instagram when it comes to finding pen pals. There are many options here. You can, for example, search for hashtags like hashtag penpal search and see if anyone is looking for a pen pal, or you can make your own post using the hashtag or any other related hashtags. There are usually two kinds of pen pal search posts. Either the person posting the picture is looking for a pen pal, or they're facilitating a pen pal search for many people where you can kind of comment and kind of put in an ad or reply to people's comments and find pen pals that way. Both are really great ways to meet people, and you can like DM them and talk for a bit and get to know each other a little before sending them your address. And that brings me to the final section of this video, which I will call Mochi's pen pal community. Since so many of you asked me how to find pen pals, I thought that I would host my very own pen pal search. If you head over to my Instagram, there is a picture that says pen pal search, and there you can look through the comments and find someone that seems interesting or seems like they could be fun to write with. Or you can of course write your own comment and wait for replies. I recommend doing both because it's always good to be proactive and not just wait for people to contact you, you know? Don't just wait for things to happen to you, but work actively towards making it happen. So in the comments you should write your first name, your age, maybe what kind of age range you're looking for, your nationality, maybe which city you live in, and you know, write just a little bit about yourself and your hobbies. And it's also nice to include how often you would prefer to send and receive letters, because this is different for everyone. Personally, I find that sending letters every single month is a little bit too much for me, but it might not be for you. But this is something that you just kind of have to find out for yourself, see what works for you. So when you find a comment that you want to reply to, send them a DM and talk for a bit. Let the other person know your expectations, your schedule, etc., just so that you're both on the same page. And most importantly, don't get upset if someone doesn't want to write with you, and don't feel pressured to agree to pen pal with someone if you don't really want to. Of course, you should be open-minded and like willing to get to know the other person, but at the end of the day, it's your choice and you have every right to say no, and you should not feel forced to agree. So just please be nice to people. Like, don't ghost people, don't be rude, don't block them, just, you know, be a decent person and let them know, like, I don't think that we are a good match, or like, I don't think that we are a good fit right now, just something like that. So yeah, I want to help you guys find a pen pal, whether it's your first one or if you're an experienced pen paler. Please don't feel discouraged to pen pal based on your financial situation or stationery collection, because in the end it's the letter that's important, and that's what I want you to take away from this video. You just need an envelope, paper, and a pen to write and send a letter, and of course stamps. And if you really want to add some extras, go back to that list in part 3 of this video. And if you have any more suggestions for things that are good to put in pen pal letters, then, you know, put them in the comment section, and I'm sure lots of people will appreciate any other suggestions as well. I know I always appreciate fresh and new ideas. And that's all that I have for you today. If you want to practice your pen paling skills or have a cute postcard that you want to send to someone, my PO box address is in the description box below. Just remember to include your Instagram handle and your address if you want me to send something back. I can't promise to send pen pal letters to everyone who sends me something, but I will try to at least send a postcard back. Or if I'm unable to do that, at least send you a message on Instagram or like an email to just let you know that I received it. If you have any further questions, leave them in the description box below. And if you watched this video all the way to the end, then comment down below with 3 pen emojis. Any pen emoji or pencil emojis will do. I hope that you're all having a lovely day, and I'll see you next time. Bye!